For a lot of us, words are magic. Words are what we use to create, to build space, to build things. This festival started as a composition of words, and then it became. I think what walls do is they cut those words off.
Words, not walls, to me means an emphasis on community and communication and art as opposed to division.
There is a lot about BNV that is cultivating intentional space for young people to use dialogue to create empathy with one another in a community that is national and international.
Now I'm gonna challenge y'all to stand next to somebody that you do not know. Hey sis, you too.
Today's workshop for BNV, I did a bilingual writing workshop.
Bilingually, I speak English, Spanish, and I'm learning Portuguese.
I speak English and Hindi. The other thing about Hindi is it's been very exposed to the forces of colonization.
Right.
Being like darker skin and also being like black too, it's like people don't really expect me to be able to speak Spanish. Then I feel like I'm not looked at, you know, as like having a valid, like I'm not validated in my identity.
I speak Vietnamese and English.
I think I'm a different person in French. I don't know, I'm more serious because I'm more attentive to how I'm trying to like phrase myself.
Giving the kids also the opportunity to begin to explore like the physicality of language, and then what are some ways that they can express that through poetry.
Rule number 1, you ain't gotta translate shit.
मेरे पापा मेरे साथ हिंदी नहीं बोलता है. And it's not because he doesn't understand or speak or that his vocabulary थोड़ी छोटी है. He speaks, but जब वो बोलता है, words become choppy and lopped off, and I have never wanted to see the broken parts of my father.
Le passage envers le rappelle somewhere in the west of France. His skin has stopped affording injury.
Words I didn't hear in the kitchen or on the TV, I learned from the radio. Emptiness, kalish, as in koi kalisha hai, hawa mein bin tere. Her voice reminded me of a heritage I never knew.
Being bilingual, that doing things in more than one language is a form of resistance, and that they should continue resisting and resist as much as possible because they are the owners of more than one thing.
There was something so kindred in our experiences that when you were talking about your mother, I felt like you were talking about my mother. We're divided in many ways by like the diversity of our backgrounds and experiences, but at the core, like poetry is about feeling, and I felt what I felt from you guys, and that was powerful for me.
Folks are coming together through this shared vehicle of poetry to learn each other's stories and better understand themselves in the world.
Trinidad and Tobago has done amazing this year.
Ask me to say something because I sound different? You see why we just get pissed off? We will not share this Creole, dipped in sugarcane and wrapped in callaloo bush for your enjoyment. Your ears are prepared for this language, seasoned with bandana and jira.
We work really hard to try and get as much Trini flavor into the poetry.
Your body are able to properly comprehend the notes of the steel pan that roll off our tongues. Our accent is our story. And yes, it is in fact the 10th sexiest accent in the world. But you don't get to hit play because you like how it sounds. Pay attention to what we have to say, not how we say it.
First time ever being on an international stage.
And I think it's very important for the kids here as well as us to understand that different perspectives or different ways poetry can be performed.
Words, not walls. That basically means to me is like always use the words even if you can't speak. Like there's this guy from Baton Rouge who's a huge inspiration to me.
Deaf Boy wants you to know he wants to teach you how to spell your name. Deaf Boy wants you to know don't copy and paste my language when you don't know what it means. Deaf Boy wants you to know how to clap for him in his language. Deaf Boy wants you to know he has to live in 2 different cultures and 2 different worlds. Deaf Boy wants you to know he feels fractured.
Just seeing the artistry, it's really amazing.
Deaf Black Boy wants you to know sometimes people only see the black and they don't see the deaf. Deaf Boy wants hearing police to know not arrest him just because he can't hear you. Deaf Boy says don't tell me to put my hands down. I don't want to put my hands down. I want to sign.
Just say what you have to say Don't ever let anything block you or stop you from being what you want to be.
Language is universal.
Poetry has elements of ritual and ceremony, which historically have always brought people together. They move people away from thinking and closer to feeling. And I think if you can make somebody feel something, a miracle can happen.
Designing space where dialogue is the key can really shift a culture.
How that happens, you gotta come to the festival. You gotta see. It's where young people build community. It's where the person who's about to go win the White House is right now busting a poem.